Good evening. Good evening to everyone. So glad that you can make it. Really, really glad that you're here. And welcome. For those of you who are new, my name is KL and I'm a shaman and I talk about really interesting stuff. If you haven't seen my lives before, they're replays. And I'm actually broadcasting on 3 different channels right now. Right here on Facebook at our Facebook page, which is Living Magic Shaman. You can also find me on YouTube at KL the Shaman. And you'll also find me as KL the Shaman on Twitch. So we talked about some really cool stuff last time, how to begin. And today I want to extend that. I want to bring it closer home to you. One of the really interesting things, and yes, we are going to get into it right away. So if you need to invite your friends, invite them right now. But you're watching, I'm happy, you're happy. Let's get into it. One of the really interesting things about how to begin spirituality, as we talked about last time, is focus, right? It's very important to have focus to the point where it's almost narcissistic. It's actually almost a tool of narcissism to be that focused. And the only reason to be that kind of focused is because you must be very clear on what it is you want. What do you want to achieve? So, to give you a little bit of a hierarchy of how this part of beginning happens. First and foremost, and this may be sort of a recap for some of you. First and foremost, you must understand that when you have a new idea pop into your mind, that is because you have already done a significant amount of work that gives you the tools to carry out that thought. So that new idea that kind of seems impossible, it actually isn't that impossible because the universe recognizes that you have the tools to carry it out, to see it through, right? To manifest it, to materialize it. It's yours. Make no mistake, it is 100% yours. Now, the next part of that, once you've kind of gotten over that initial shock, is to understand that the framework for making that thing happen is already laid out. How to maintain it, how to keep it going, all of those paths concerning that particular thought are already laid out. These are foregone conclusions in the universe. The only thing you really have to do is stay focused on exactly how you're going to achieve it by paying attention to what the universe has laid out in terms of a path of success. Where things kind of go wrong is when we kind of take things into our own hands that aren't really our part to do. See, it's a collaborative effort. You'll hear a lot of people in this industry talk about co-creating. It's not my favorite term. It's really overused, most times abused. It's not so much a co-creation as a collaboration. Very different concept. This collaboration is between you focusing on how the universe has laid out the perfect path for this idea of yours to be successful and your ability to follow it, to follow through. All right? So that's what makes this really important, to have that narcissistic level focus. And I'm using this term not as a trigger point, but as something that's very important for you to understand how deep your focus really has to be. So now that we've covered that, how do we get that kind of focus? Look, I can hear a lot of you saying, listen, I can't even focus on right now. You're talking and my mind is drifting away and I get it. I do. This is why this topic is fire. It's the first gods. All right? So I understand it. And I want you to know that this is the place I'm coming from. A deep, deep sense of understanding. I used to have issues with that too. Until one of my training sessions, I was shown how to use fire as a conduit towards teaching myself how to focus. And guess what? I'm going to show you that this evening. Yep, 100%. So, if you want to follow along with me in this particular practice, here are the things you're going to need. If you have a candle, no matter what kind of candle it is, it doesn't really matter right now. I'll be using a white candle, but if you have, it doesn't matter if it could be a tea candle, it could be a kettle candle, it could be a beeswax candle. It doesn't matter. Go grab yourself a candle right now. I'll wait. I promise. Go ahead. Okay, you got it? Awesome. Now, we want to be safe about this. This is also very important. You know, a lot of things you say, oh, don't try this at home. No, no, no. I want you to try this at home. So, we're going to be safe about this. If you're using a pillar candle, or let's say like a dinner candle, or even a ritual candle, heck, you know what? It doesn't matter what kind of candle you're using. Grab a small plate or saucer, or maybe a little bowl that candle could fit into. And in that bowl, you're going to just put maybe about like a 1/4 inch of water. We want to be completely safe about this. All right? So go on ahead, do that. I'll wait. Don't worry, I'm still here. Promise. All right? You're just about there? Okay, great. So, I'm going to bring mine up now, and I want you to just follow along with me in this demonstration, okay? Okay. Right now, let me just make sure that my camera may jump focus between me and the candle, so we'll see how good that goes here. Of course, we are going to light the candle, so why don't you get something that you're gonna light the candle with, okay? I have my trusty windproof lighter here. I'm just gonna straighten this wick up a little bit. Okay. If I need to focus it super close, then I will be adjusting the zoom on the camera. I'm just kind of giving you some forewarning about that. Just making sure I'm looking at my monitor here, make sure everything's all centered. All right. So let's light the candle now. Okay. All right. Now, first and foremost, I want you to understand there's nothing super magical about what we're going to do. That's really important for you to understand. what we are doing is activating a certain part of the brain to recognize an activity that we are going to use. And that activity has a series of steps in it that will be equivalent to focus. Okay? It's very, very important that you understand that. So the first thing I want you to do is I want you to look directly at your flame. All right, the flame that's in front of you, I want you to look at that. Now, if you're not following along with me right away, feel free to observe my flame. Now, some of you may see that as I approach it, it kind of moves a little bit. And that's just because my body's energy field naturally affects fire. I'm a little bit of a pyro. Okay. So let's refocus here. I want you to, for those of you who are following along, I want you to look directly at your flame. And you know what? I'll try to use a pointer here. Maybe that will help identify better. All right, here. Probably just use a pencil. Hopefully I don't set it on fire. Now, there are parts of this flame, and I have to talk a little bit lower with my mouth down. There are parts of this flame that I want you to pay attention to. Think of this as having an artist's eye, and you want to really zone in on this. So you'll notice that at the very bottom of the wick, it's almost super clear. And as you go from the bottom of the wick a little bit higher up, you'll see sort of a blue haze right there. And then it sort of fades into a light yellow. And from that light yellow, if you look deeper into the flame itself, like right around the wick, you'll see that it's like almost clear. That there's sort of an apex in the middle, close to the wick, and extending at least about, I'd say about a 1/4 inch or a 1/2 inch above it. And then there's sort of a crown and crest. And then it turns into a bright yellow all the way to the top. Yeah, see, I set my pencil on fire there for a second. And you'll notice that that's where the real heat is, and the flames kind of lick the fire, right? So we have the blue, the fade, the clear in the middle, and then the apex. As you look at the flame, each one of those areas are points of focus. And each one of those areas affects a different part of your brain, simply because of the vibrational color that's being emitted. This is what makes this particular focusing, if you want to call it a meditation, right? But I call it just a focus exercise. This particular focus exercise is extremely effective, and it works a hell of a lot faster than a meditation actually will. Just by noticing those parts. That's the first step. So you're basically going to run your eyes vertically from the bottom all the way to the top. So look deep, and then you'll see the blue. Look higher up, you'll see that faded yellow. Look into the middle, see it's like almost clear. and then you'll see sort of a crown, crest, and then the top of the flame. And just keep cycling that. Don't go down, always go from the bottom up. So as you cycle, you see the blue, you see the fade, you see the clear, crown, crest, and then you go back again. Blue, fade, clear, the crown, crest. Blue, fade, clear, crown, crest. And for some of you, you'll actually begin to feel a sense of calmness happening. Now, if you've had any sort of trauma with fire, you will feel your heart palpitation happening. This is okay. This is actually okay. Because this is going to help to reprogram your response to fire. So if you feel that heart palpitation, acknowledge it by using an affirmation. The affirmation is, my heart is beating irregularly. I acknowledge this. Right? Even if it helps to kind of put your hand onto your heart as you say it, go ahead and do that. Say, my heart is beating irregularly. I acknowledge this. Now, also as you're saying this, look away from the flame to the right. Okay? So this is my right, you use your right, which would be over here. Just look away from the flame to the right, only if you are experiencing palpitations as you are watching the flame. Now, as you're over here on the right, not too far, you're going to reverse the process. You're going to slowly track your eyes over towards the flame. And as you do that, you're going to say a new affirmation, which is, my heart is beating regularly. I am calm. My heart is beating regularly. I am calm. And really focus on as your vision comes closer and closer and closer and closer and closer until you're centered on the flame. And what you'll find is that the palpitations start to slow down. Now, if they don't stop right away, that's okay, right? Just do the same process again. So from the focusing on the flame, you go back to saying, my heart is beating irregularly. I acknowledge this. And you only need to say it like 1 to 3 times. Then you shift your focus away from the flame, and you start here, and then you reverse this process. My heart is beating regularly. I am calm. And then you slowly bring your vision over. My heart is beating regularly. I am calm. You bring it over again. My heart is beating regularly. I am calm. Until you land back on the flame. Now, this is just if you have had some traumas with fire, where when you look at fire, your heart starts kind of speeding up or experiencing palpitations. Now, if you are someone who is like me, pyro, love fire, mesmerized by it, we're going to capitalize on that. Remember how I said we cycle through from the base to the top, okay? And yes, my hand is really close, and you can see this is, yeah. At another point, we'll talk about why this is happening. There's an actual physical reason why this is happening, why I'm able to control the way that the flame is like this just by the energy that my body is producing, okay? So we'll try to ignore that for now, but just to kind of get through this part of the exercise. I want you to be able to focus, like bring both eyes and zone right in to the flame. And as you do that, what I want you to have in your mind is you and the flame being one entity. You're also going to try to keep your feet flat on the floor. And you want to relax both shoulders. And as you do that, you'll start to see the flame become even more calm. And then focus deeper into the middle of the flame. And as you do that, begin to feel like the warmth of the flame is extending towards your body. Feel that warmth beginning to cover the crown of your head and gently wash all the way over your face and wash all the way over your shoulders, front and back, so chest and then back, all the way down your lower back, all the way covering your entire body, all the way down to below the soles of your feet. All the while maintaining looking directly at the middle of the flame. Now, this connection that you have to the flame, depending on how much concentration you put into it, you should be able to affect it quite easily. Right? Okay. And being able to play with it like this really allows you to get involved with the connection. And be very aware that what I'm doing right now is creating such a strong affinity that I can be this close without the heat affecting me directly, because the equilibrium between the fire and the energy around my hand It's just about the same. Now, while I'm doing this, I'm going to talk a little bit about the attributes of fire. As with all elements, fire has positive and negative things about it. It can burn, or it can keep you warm. And all the other elements have the same positive and negative attributes. Right? So it's really, really important that you understand that the nature of what we are experiencing right here, right now, creates an incredible amount of focus. Because it's no longer about whether or not the fire is going to burn you. It's only about the connection that you have with this element. Fire can make you strong. Fire can also weaken you. There are some forests that must experience fire in order for it to grow. Imagine that. And by understanding your connection with the fire, you're able to, in some ways, understand the connections that happen in your mind in terms of focus. Now, I'm going to attempt something here. I haven't done this in a while. So I'm going to attempt something here, which is a deeper level of focus. And if you want, you can try this with me as well. If you have other people watching with you right now, then you can have them sort of tell you after the fact. But this level of focus, here's how you level it up. You close your eyes and you see the same flame right there in your occipital lobe at the back of your head. It will reproduce this flame. And you can try it right now. Just close your eyes for like 3 seconds. Right. Open. See? Same flame. That's because your mind is adjusting to the vision that you're holding. You are holding on to this. That means that you are currently experiencing focus. The moment that you can close your eyes and you see the same thing, you know that you've achieved focus. It is actually that simple. The longer you close your eyes, the better the connection. So that when you reopen your eyes, you see a better connection. I'm going to show you what that looks like. Okay? Follow with me. Again, feet flat on the floor. Make sure your shoulders are relaxed. You want to take just a normal breath. And then release it. And look directly into the middle of the flame. And I'll do this with you. So in 3, 2, 1, close your eyes. See the flame. Feel the warmth coming off of the flame. And now in your mind's eye, feel that the connection between you and the flame is a single connection, which means if you move, the flame should also move. Sometimes there's lag time with the connection, but that's okay. Just refocus your mind on the same flame that's in front of you. And as you move, the flame should move. Then take a breath and release it. And then 3, 2, 1, open your eyes. See the difference in the flame now? Right. This actually doesn't take that long to sort of get into and to actually master it. Remember, the purpose of training yourself into this kind of focus is because when you're carrying out your idea, you need to have clarity. You need to have such a clear state of mind that there isn't anything within you or outside of you that would deter you from achieving your goal. If you don't know how to focus, you have to actually train yourself to focus. Now, if I were to, well, yeah, let's give it a shot and see. There. All right, so that dip that happened there was me basically trying to take the energy that's around it and to just sort of compress it, right? These are all the different things that you can do. It happens little by little, and you can increase your ability to do that simply by just this connection. I want you to really understand this connection is a very real thing. This is real time, right? So understand that, there's no air blowing here right now except my breath going on the flame from time to time. Otherwise than that, see, look. That is literally the energy that's from my hand that is causing it to either attract or affect the flame. See? That connection is very real. What you're seeing is in real time. And no burns, right? This is just a pure energetic connection. Okay? These things can be done. They're possible. All it takes is just for someone to kind of show you how simple it is. If you practice this long enough, what you'll find in your daily life is that your focus improves. Your ability to just kind of hunker down and think on something is going to improve at least tenfold. That I can promise you. But you have to practice, right? In fact, I would encourage you to take a 21-day challenge on yourself on this. Every day. It doesn't matter really and truly how long you practice, but I'm pretty sure what you're going to find out is that time passes pretty quickly. A word of caution, though. There's that scene in The Matrix where the gifted kid tells Neo, "Don't try to move the spoon. That's impossible." The same thing applies to this. Do not try to move the fire. That's impossible. Only focus on your connection to the flame. It is the fact that your intimate, entangled connection to the flame is a single connection which makes you and the flame operating in harmony. So whatever you do, the flame wants to do. And the more that you're in harmony with the flame is the more that it will do what you want it to do. Right? So whenever you practice, be sure to do those early things that we talked about. So I'll give you step by step. If you want to write this down, pen and paper, on your phone, on your tablet, wherever you're watching this, let me know when you're ready. Okay, good. Sit in a comfortable position, or stand if you feel more comfortable standing. But make sure that your feet are flat on the floor. When your feet are flat on the floor, there's sort of a grounding effect that happens. Make sure that your shoulders are relaxed. Sometimes you don't know this until you actually focus on your shoulders to be from here to relaxed. See what happened to the flame right there as I did that? Yeah, that's exactly what happens. That's because my connection is a single connection right now. And I'm talking directly to the flame and it's not moving. Right? Real time. Okay? The other thing to remember is cycle first. So focus at the bottom of the wick where the blue section is. Notice how it fades into that yellow section, which goes right into the clear, sort of a cone shape in the middle, and then it crowns into the top or the apex of the flame. And then cycle that again. If you run that cycle, let's say 5 to 10 times, it sets your mind up to be ready to focus. Don't rush through it, because you have to see those areas clearly. Once you've done that, then it's time to connect. That's where you begin to look directly into the middle of the flame with your shoulders relaxed and begin to feel the warmth of the flame going from the crown of your head and washing over your entire body all the way down to below the soles of your feet. Once you feel that connection, this is where the real work begins. Feel the unison of you connected to the flame. And as you feel that unison, begin to engage the unison. One way that you know this unison exists in the flame is that you'll find sometimes just in the middle of the flame, and I don't know if you'll see this right now, but sometimes in the middle of the flame, you'll almost be able to see like 2 triangles just in the middle of the top. Just 2 triangles just in the middle of the top right there. And it shows up from time to time when you've achieved that unison. So that's a visual cue that you can look for, that as you're looking into the flame, if you see those sort of almost like a bow tie right in the middle of the flame, you know that you've achieved a certain sense of unison with it, right? And then from there, that's when you begin to approach your hand. And you'll notice that you don't even feel the flame. When you are connected with a flame like this, you literally can go that close and not feel the flame at all. Because you and the flame are carrying the exact same frequency. Right? And you realize how long my hand is here, like my fingers are here. Right? You are seeing this in real time. There's no camera tricks. There's nothing different about this candle. This is strictly just my intimate connection to this flame. Right? And see? There. Nothing. I want you to understand how real this is. I want you to understand how amazing this is when you can focus this deeply. We all can do it. We are all built for this. Don't start here. Start out here. Okay? And again, for those of you who, if you still experience palpitations because you've had trauma with fire in the past, remember there's 2 mantras that you're going to use. One of acknowledgement and one to reverse the process. So the acknowledgement starts at the flame, and you're going to say, my heart is beating irregularly. I acknowledge this. And then shift your vision away from the flame. You are still going to see it in your peripheral. That's okay. But you're just going to shift your vision over here. Let's say about 10 degrees over. And then from here, you're going to start with the reversal mantra. So you're going to say, my heart is beating regularly. I am calm. And then you bring it a little closer. My heart is beating regularly. I am calm. 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 Until you get right back center on the flame, and then you say that again. My heart is beating regularly. I am calm. You will notice that the flame itself stops the flickering, because when you're connected to it and you're experiencing palpitations, that flame is going to show it. Right? This is a real-time connection. I keep saying it because I want you to understand how truthful this is. It is a real-time connection. For those of you who are following with me, I know that you're going to experience this as well. It seems extremely amazing at this point, but this is the beauty of the simplicity of the process. Okay? I think we've done a fair bit tonight, right? Yeah. Okay. So, true fine fashion. I'm going to snuff the flame out. And then we're going to put that away. Okay. So, we had fun. I hope you did. And I am excited to have brought that to you. This is the first step in understanding how to begin your journey to spirituality. Focus is important. Focus is integral to everything that you do, everything that you experience along this journey. And I'm happy to have presented that. I guess that's all we have for tonight. All right? Remember to do this safely. I take no liability if you do dumb stuff. Do this safely. Always be sure that your flame is in a safe container, and preferably a container that is deep enough to have some water at the bottom. Yes, that's my PSA. All right. That's all I got for tonight. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.